It's the Friendly Fire Show, episode 163 for October.
That's it.
I did my back like a fortnight ago, and I've spent most of the time on the floor. We have daylight savings, which has happened. Like I have no concept of time anymore.
Yeah, you're sitting.
Very precarious.
That's good. Shouldn't you be on like a wooden board or something?
Well, I've literally spent most of my time on the floor or on my side with a heat pack on my back. So I'm old. Ben,
okay.
enjoy your youth and your health while you can, because
I have
fleeting.
months left in my 20s, so I'll cling to them because I can see what happens at the end of your 30s.
You just deteriorate. Well, yeah, precisely. Yeah. Well, I'm one of your hosts, Steve Wright from Stevivor.
I'm Ben Tolter from Stevivor, and we're here to talk about an Xbox Series X because you have one.
Yes, and that's why we're doing a video. So apologies if we're shit at this. I certainly will be. Should I just hold it up right now? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's in the background too because that light box behind you is the right size, and that's it.
It's too far behind me to actually reach because of said back problems, and also this is like fairly chunky, so I don't want to drop it. But yeah, it's they call it a fridge. It looks fridge-like.
Looks like a fridge.
And there it is, and people have been asking for comparisons. So, oh my god, I'm so terrified I'm going to drop this, but I'm not going to. Here is an Xbox 360 case.
Wow.
Like, I don't understand how that's going to help you compare it, but whatever. And here's an Xbox One case, which is slightly smaller.
You get some scale. You could stack two. If you can fit two cases on top of each other in your entertainment unit, you can fit an Xbox Series X in there. I cannot actually.
Well, yeah, like I can fit it. Can I talk about these things? Yes, I can fit it in my entertainment unit like this on its side, and it has little, you probably can't see them, like little nubby feet, like little rubbery feet. It's hard to tell. I don't know if you're going to see them. Oh, you can do if I do that.
Oh yeah, there you go.
So little nubby feet that will let you sit it down. But that means really if it's in your entertainment unit, you have to sit it down like this. So it's going to be blowing the air out the top to the right. So
well, that's good to know because I need to swap my system. I've got my Xbox on the left, so it needs to go on the right side where there's a gap in the thing.
That's exactly my problem downstairs. Upstairs, I don't think I can actually detail why this isn't sitting where the light box is. That's where I planned for it to go. It's actually, you can't really tell, like down where I'm pointing at for reasons that I don't think I can actually say yet. It's nothing horrible bad. It's just like logistics, I suppose. So this is it. I can't show it to you turned on, but I've made a whole bunch of videos with it turned on and games and stuff. So
it does work, right?
Yes, it does work. This is the power button, but I literally can't show you me. I can't click it with the power connected to it with this new preview NDA. I don't know why.
I'm irrationally annoyed that when I have this lying down horizontal, the Xbox logo is going to be sideways. Like, come on. Like, it's meaningless. Doesn't mean anything, but it annoys me a little bit.
And if you wanted to put it to the left so it's facing the other way, like it doesn't work. And I don't know if, I guess you could put it down on a thing that isn't the feet, but I don't know if I would recommend that. Anyway, so semantics.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. Really. Do you have the disk drive on top? I don't think so.
Also, this is the new controller. It looks very much and feels very much like an old controller, but it's got this D-pad thing here.
Like the Elite controller, right?
Yeah, it's like a hybrid of the satellite and a normal D-pad. I don't think I can say anything about how it feels yet. Again, like, I don't know. I'm probably breaking NDA right now. Who knows? And then
I think it feels like an Xbox controller, even without it.
Precisely. And then, like, because it's so small. It's like the size of the palm of your hand. Not even.
Yeah, don't crush it. The Xbox 598.
That's the C.
599, sorry. Yeah.
The 1 terabyte thing. It's actually really cool. It only goes in the one direction, so you can't like stuff it up. Like it just literally won't.
Okay.
That's the right way. And there's like a little click when it goes in. If you try to flip it around and do it the other way, it's kind of like a USB. It just like it won't go. So
you have to try it 3 times, then it will go in.
Pretty much. Yeah. But once it's in there, like I don't know if you're ever going to take it out, really.
Yeah, well, that's good. I mean, they only revealed a few days ago that there are going to be other manufacturers making these. There's going to be different sizes. They just wanted the 1 terabyte there for launch, so they had an option. But there will be more options, so it's not the only thing you can get.
And they will probably be expensive.
It will
So
definitely be expensive.
that's cool.
Yeah.
So we have a preview that's going to be going up at the end of next week, and that's where I get to say all the stuff that I'm like not able to say right now. But we can talk about a couple things if you want. I don't have anything written down. It's all on the computer behind me. I thought I'd do this for show rather than like
Yeah,
use.
it's all in your head. You know everything. Basically,
Fine.
here's what I'm getting. The
Well,
Xbox Series X loads games faster.
yes. So we can talk about load times. We can talk about power up start time. We can talk about quick resume, and there's one more thing. Oh, data transfer. So the Series X has an SSD, a solid state drive, as opposed to a traditional hard drive with the spinny bit in the inside. That's how I'm going to describe it.
That's the technical term.
So you can get old games from your Xbox One, or no, not your 360, from your Xbox One to your Series X through network transfer, which I can't really talk about yet, but you've seen how network transfer works if you've used it on Xbox One. Nothing changes. It is really dependent on your network for speeds rather than anything else. You can move things from external USB 3.0 hard drives onto the Xbox Series SSD or expansion card SSD, which is probably the fastest way to do it. But you can play non-Xbox Series X games on USB expansion drives. Things that we've already covered. To get the full benefits of the Series X, obviously you want to put things on the internal drive. So we've done a whole bunch of tests on how long it takes to move things to the Xbox Series X. The next bit that I'm going to test is how long it takes to put things off of the Xbox Series X onto a hard drive, because you have to juggle your games because you only have a finite amount of space, and you probably don't want to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on those Seagate expansion cards right now. Yeah, the gist is it's faster doing things with an Xbox Series X as opposed to the dodgy old hard drive on an Xbox One X. Same thing for loading times. Sometimes it halves the loading time into a game. Sometimes they're pretty comparable. It's like maybe like 10 or 20 seconds difference. Like there's some ones that are blistering crazily fast and ones that are average. Quick resume is really cool. It will suspend your games by kind of like saving the game state in the internal memory of the Xbox. So if you're bouncing between like Ori and the Will of the Wisps and Resident Evil 3 or Doom Eternal or whatever, it just kind of like picks up where you leave off. It also works with 360. And the weird thing about 360 is you have to kind of play differently if you're going to be using quick resume. So as an example, if you're playing Doom and you switch to Resident Evil 3, you just hit the guide button and switch, and it'll take you out of Doom and drop you into Resident Evil, and you will get in there and you'll be in a pause screen and you hit, resume, and you just keep playing. Because that's kind of how the nature of Xbox One games work with the guide. But because 360 wasn't kind of designed with that guide in mind, you will just like, if you use quick resume with 360 games, you will just leave where you are standing. If you're playing Halo and you're in like the middle of a firefight with a grunt or something, you will just leave that, go to your other game. If you come back, you won't come in with a nice like unpause, keep playing mindset. You will just literally be back in that shootout with a grunt. So if you aren't paying attention and you kind of set down the controller or something, or you look away from the TV, you will just immediately get shot and killed. So
you should probably pause and then jump out.
That's what you have to get. That's what you have to get used to doing. And
well,
I guarantee
it's
you'll
one
forget.
button. It's easy. You'll get there.
Like, and it's a cool feature, but I also don't really see myself bouncing around like 5 games at once. Like,
no, but you don't need it. Be playing. You don't need it for 5. You need it for 1 or 2. Like, how many times are you playing something and you think, oh, I'm going to go play this quickly, and then you go back to that first one you were playing before, and it takes half an hour to get into it. So that's what it's for.
Well, something that I actually would use it for is because the NHL games have that shitty bunch of achievements tied to Hockey Ultimate Team, like the card-based, like it's like FUT in FIFA. There's achievements for like opening up 100 daily bonus packs, and as the game, and it's once every 24 hours, but once new games come out, they lessen that time. So I've been trying to mop that up in NHL 17, 18, and 19 and 20 right now. So I like literally will open a game, open the card pack, close it, go to the next one, open the card pack, close it, go to the next one, open the card pack, close it. And now I can just like bounce between the games, like straight into that menu, just go like open, done, switch, open, done, switch, open, done, switch. It'll like shave off hours of time theoretically.
I'm so sorry, listeners, that Steve has an Xbox Series One, and this is his big takeaway: is that he can open card packs in NHL games real quick.
You're welcome, people. Oh,
That's the next gen feature.
My cat's coming to visit. So here's a video bonus for the podcast. Oh, she left. Well, you probably saw my cat. Anyway, so that's cool. I think that's all I have to say about Xbox stuff, unless you have questions you want to try to ask me that I might not answer.
I don't think so, because you can't talk about anything really. But what about the coolness factor? You have a new console. Next gen's always exciting. You've had to do it from a work perspective where you're doing all these loading tests, but is there still that fun of you opened a new console, or are you past that?
It's been a week, so I'm kind of past it. And like, it's that thing of, sadly, especially on the Xbox side now, there's not like a new game to play. And I'm testing backwards compatibility this week. So it's just like old games, faster, slightly better looking, but like, it's good. I don't mean to seem like I'm not grateful for the opportunity, but
it's a different launch. We've already talked about this before. It's not here's your one big game that's next gen. It's here's more powerful way to play a bunch of existing games, initially at least. So that is this console generation. And it's the same on PS5. Pretty much all those games are across Gen 2. So yeah, that's just where we're at the moment.
And the good news is next week there will be actually new games that I get to preview, but I can't talk about them right now.
Oh, so that's exciting.
Yeah.
Well, while you were busy,
now I'm not grateful and a wanker because I'm talking about things that are embargoed. Sorry.
While you were busy playing with your fancy new Xbox, we were watching a Japanese and drinking this beer, which is, I didn't see how big that is compared to an Xbox. So how would I know? That's how you compare everything. Okay.
Oh God, I'm gonna drop this. Okay, hold on.
It looks pretty heavy.
It's hefty, but like once it's in your entertainment unit, you're not gonna
pick it up
with it. There you go.
Okay, so it's actually pretty much a beer bottle, a little bit.
It's almost a beer bottle. It's an Asahi bottle, tall and a bit.
Okay, that is a exclusive fact here. I don't think we've had the Asahi comparison yet. Speaking of Japan and Asahi, out of Japan today, we got a PS4. No, not PS4. PS5 teardown, which Sony had been promising for a long time. They finally basically ripped one apart and shown us what's there. From a user point of view, we got to see how the stand works. So it's way more complicated than I thought. I thought it was going to be like the PS2 stand and like the Wii stand, like just a little bit of plastic, but it's actually got a tool to take it apart, and it can hold its own screw in there, and you kind of clip it on if you want to go horizontal. We saw how the memory expansion will work, which is way more complicated than the Xbox, but we already knew that was going to be the case. And we saw that those big, gigantic white fins can come off pretty easily. So I think there's definitely going to be an option to buy a black one if that's what you want, probably next year. And third parties will come out with their own fancy colors, weird designs. So if you want to customize it, I think that'll be there. Or you could spray paint it yourself if you really hate the white. I wouldn't. I think that would look terrible, but you could. So yeah, we learned that. We pretty much saw inside that it's all heatsink, like there's like half of it. It's this gigantic heatsink and this massive fan. So they've done pretty similar to Xbox, which is we're worried that you're going to overheat this thing. Try to do it if you can, because we've really gone to town in cooling. Hopefully it's quieter. I think that's what we've heard, but none of us have it to test yet, so we don't really know. But the PS4 is very loud, much louder than the Xbox One X. So I'm imagining this is all part of that. It's going to run much cooler. It's not going to have overheating issues. That's what they were showing us, basically. Look how well this is designed. I think it was designed pretty well. As someone who has no idea how these things really work, it looks good to me.
It looks really cool. And there's like, we got to see the slot where the like non-existent extra memory, or not memory, like storage can go. Not that we know like what actually would fit in there yet, but that's really cool. It has a USB-C, which the Xbox Series don't. And Their USB ports are super speed, so they do 10 gigabits per second instead of 5, which is what the ones on the Xbox Series consoles will do, which I don't know if that's a huge deal or not, because you're wanting to play games still on the SSD, so that's like maybe to transfer them a little bit quicker. So that's a bonus to that.
Probably.
But it's
Looks
really
good.
cool.
We
It
finally
does.
saw it. The other thing they announced is trophies are changing a little bit.
Yeah.
They're pretty much just scaling the level. So at the moment you can go up to level 100, and they're taking it to level 999. So my understanding is if you're level 40 or something, you'll automatically be scaled along to where you should be.
Yeah.
Which I
and if
guess
you're
is
level
pretty much
100,
400.
Yeah. And if you're level 100, you're not 100 anymore, which is good. So it's not like you lost any progression. Exactly.
And that is all they're changing, I think, unless they're giving more weighting to platinums or something, but I didn't really read into it that much.
Well, they kind of are now, because you get more, the way that the points are allocated is different to match the new levels. And it's kind of like if you're in an RPG and you're just starting out, like you'll hit from level 1 to like level 10 or something, like far quicker than you will to get to 11 and 12 and 13 and so on and so forth. So my cat is walking in the background, so if I'm shaking in the camera, we're not having an earthquake.
Well, you were before, but you're not at the moment. The cat does not care for next-gen console chat, clearly.
She cares not. What else do we have to talk about? That's kind of all Sony-based. People were freaky because Peter Parker's face changed, or will change.
Well,
potentially.
his next-gen face has changed, definitely. His last-gen face will not change. That's pretty much what you're paying for in the remastered version of Spider-Man. You get new Peter Parker, and you're getting some ray tracing and a little bit slightly improved textures. It's already a really good looking game. I don't mean that in a bad way. There's not that much they can do to it, at least at launch, while everyone's still figuring out the console. So the Insomniac's reasoning is they needed someone's... First of all, I didn't realize that the actor was not also the face actor. I just assumed same guy, the voice actor and motion capture actor. No, they've got a guy doing the voice work. The same guy does the motion capture. And then they had a different face actor who basically they just use his face and apply it to the motion capture guy's movements.
Yes. And that guy, just coincidentally, is Yuri Lowenthal, who was the original voice of the Prince of Persia in Sands of Time. And he's coming back to be the prince again in the Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake. So
he's got plenty of work.
And he's old. So that's why he's not the face of Peter Parker.
Okay.
Because he's like 23 in the game or something.
That makes sense. Okay. So basically they've said to match his amazing motion capture, we needed a different, not a younger face, but a different face. Because the guy who did the first one was only in his mid-20s too, but it just didn't match properly. But
he looks a lot older than the new face, to be
exactly.
honest.
So the guy, I assumed he was meant to be about 30. That was kind of what he looked like, or late 20s.
Yeah.
In the game. Apparently he's meant to be 23, so the new actor is 26, but he looks like he's a 19-year-old. He's very Tom Holland-esque, bit of a fake Tom Holland. That's clearly what they're going for. Like, absolutely. When they cast this, they claim it's just this guy happens to match the motion capture work perfectly. The other guy doesn't. That's maybe true, but that's part of the story here. They clearly wanted more of a... People think Spider-Man is this forever 19-year-old Tom Holland. I don't know how old he is now. He's about 25 probably, but he looks like he's 19, and he will for 10 years probably. And some people don't mind. Some people are not happy that they've changed it, because I think I did like the original Spider-Man. I don't know why we had to change it here.
It's totally future-proofing, because he'll obviously be in Miles Morales and he'll be in Spider-Man 2 when it comes out. And I reckon they just... If you look back at because it looked fine to me. If you look at Peter Parker in PS4 now and look at the new one does kind of look uncanny valley, like weird plasticky, and one looks like the new one. So I think that they're literally just doing this for when they keep going on Spider-Man on PS5. And fair enough. Like, you can just say that maybe, and it would have alleviated some of the outrage.
I think the fact that it's so clearly a similar look to the Avengers movie Spider-Man, but obviously not Tom Holland, is what. But they're not saying that. They're saying it's a totally different reason, which is probably true. But they're just not even admitting that it looked a lot like him, a very similar style guy. If they just kind of said, yeah, it does kind of look like him, but that's not why we did it, I don't think people would have such a big deal.
Yeah, it's like Tom Holland light, but I guess really, it's kind of generic teen white guy is also.
It's the Tom Holland we could afford, is what they didn't say. Basically, we can afford this guy.
Like, I'm sure they could have de-aged me a little bit. They have the technology. I would have been Spider-Man. I would have charged half the price of whatever the guy who's now Spider-Man would have charged. But
well, I've seen The Irishman. I don't know if they do have the technology that good yet.
Are you saying I'm that old? Is that what? Oh, thank you very much. I'm so glad we went on video for this one. I just feel so much happier about
maybe
myself.
Zoom has a function where they can de-age, give you the Robert De Niro in his 30s.
Oh, there is. There's like a softening thing. I should have turned on the softening filter.
Okay.
Darn it. Doesn't matter. Where did we even leave off with console pre-orders last time we talked?
Did I tell you on this show about what happened to me at Target? I don't think I did. We talked about what happened to you.
Yeah, I don't think we got that far.
It happened to me a week later. So let's recap, shall we? The whole morning was a blur. Listen to the last episode. We pretty much went play by play of what happened up until about 3 p.m. last episode. You got a Target pre-order. I got a Target pre-order. They took the full $7.49. Later that day, you got your money back and they canceled you. I thought that meant I'd drawn the golden ticket. I just got a lucky one. They were just giving them out randomly, which did seem to be what was happening.
Yeah.
One whole week later, I got an email saying insufficient stock. Here's your money back. Very annoying. If that was the only pre-order I had, I'd be very annoyed. Then
luckily you had 17.
I had 3.
Okay.
I'll admit, and I know some people are annoyed about people going with multiple pre-orders, and I get it. But I think that this is why we had to do it. The way that things were run, you had to hedge your bets to a degree, and I still don't know what I'm getting.
Well, I had 1 pre-order, and then I had 2, and then I had 3, and then I had 1, and then I had 2. Like, I don't know. Like, but I only had 2 pre-orders at one point because EB didn't give me one, and then like 8 hours later they did. So yeah, like anybody that gets pissed off at someone for having multiple pre-orders, I don't follow that argument, because people were literally just scrambling trying to get one, and then sometimes you just happen to hit like 2 or 3 at the same time because you were that desperate. So
I think now, if you've we'll get to it in a second, how JB have confirmed some people are launch day, then now that you know you're getting one on launch, that's the time to cancel the others. Other people can get them now, but at the time we didn't know. So what happened after that is Target then told people who they kept, you're not getting on release day. We don't know when you're getting it. And Xbox ANZ actually jumped in on a tweet about that and said, no shipments have been delayed yet. We don't know what this is about. And then nothing came of that. So if you got one at Target, I wouldn't be putting too much faith into that.
Correct.
Then JB happened. So JB lost a lot of faith with people on both consoles, Xbox and PlayStation. But it did seem like if you pre-ordered a PlayStation, you definitely got it at launch. If you pre-ordered an Xbox, you probably didn't. So
because like from soon as pre-orders were taken, there was that little disclaimer at 8 p.m. or 8 a.m. Yeah, saying this doesn't guarantee launch day. So like at least you kind of knew what you're getting in for, but like still, you'd hope that if you had an 8:01 pre-order that you would be okay.
You did get it. It seems to be about 10-minute window. If you got in that 10 minutes, which happened to be the 10 minutes the website didn't work, you got one. I think people are probably rightly annoyed because the PS5 had the same disclaimer, and if you bought in that same initial window, I haven't found anyone who bought in that first hour of PS5s who didn't get one. They all got launch. Not the case for Xbox. We've talked about that before too. The surprise launch of the PS5 kind of meant that scalpers couldn't get on board like they did for the Xbox. That's probably why there's a big difference. Or there's way more PS5s in Australia than there are Xbox, which may also be true. We don't know what the stock is. Probably both.
Yeah.
I would say a bit of both. So then what happened at JB is they came out and they said, if you did get one, we're going to SMS you at some point very soon. You need to pay within 5 days and you cannot use gift cards, which really annoyed people.
Sort of. They said, we're going to let you know that you have to pay soon.
That's what they initially said.
And that was, and no gift cards.
Yeah.
And then I think 2 days later
they gave the deadline.
Yeah.
Reiterated no discards of 5 days. So that is still at time of listening and recording this Sunday, the 10th, 11th, Sunday the 11th at midnight, basically. That's when you've got to.
Yep.
Presumably, if you don't pay, they haven't really outlined it. And I've actually seen an email from JB which said, we don't have a process for what to do yet.
Oh, I thought it said, the SMS said, if you don't pay, you lose your spot, or like something alluded to you'll lose your spot in the queue. So it seems like they'll bump people up if you don't pay in time.
Correct. That's what it seems like. It said something like, you don't lose your spot in the queue, pay by this time. Like, it didn't actually say you'll definitely lose it. It implied that. the JB sales staff have been saying different stuff to different people. They're pretty much everyone just publishes their emails. So whatever you tell anyone, JB, people are sharing that information. And I saw one where the person said, we actually don't have a process of what to do for the non-payers yet. If they're going to give them an extension, if they're going to move up the next person, probably because they don't know how many people are not going to pay. If they have a small amount of people, they might give them a reminder. If they have thousands, they might just move people up. So we have no idea what's going to happen there. Then they backtracked. So there was a lot of rage basically about no gift cards because a lot of people have bought them. I think it's a bit foolish of people who have been like, I've been saving up my money by buying JB gift cards. Like,
yeah,
just
that's
save
weird.
the money.
But also, like, for Christmas, people don't know what to get me, so they buy me JB gift cards. So
there's that too. That's the people I feel sorry for. The people who knew that they were pre-ordered a console, you know, they had a birthday or something. Their parents like, here you go, I bought you the gift card, and then they couldn't use it. So what you have to do is you still have to pay. You have to find that $700 cash or credit on a credit card or PayPal. Then you need to submit your gift card to them via a form, and they will get back to you by basically redeeming the gift card and then refunding the money. Pretty much proving that it wasn't a dodgy business tactic of we just wanted to get more cash in. It was our new system hasn't had gift cards added yet, which is still ridiculous because their website has the functionality, but they're now probably going to lose a bunch more money because heaps of manual work has to be done here.
Yeah. Well, and it's shitty on their part because it's not like they said or admitted to any of that before all this happened. They're just like, we're not taking gift cards, too bad. And then that led Biteside and Seamus Byrne to go to Choice, and then Choice was made aware of it. They're a consumer advocacy group, and that happened like yesterday, and then today this has all started to kind of trickle out. So I
that's
think
why this has happened.
Yeah, the risk of people reporting them to the ACCC and having to deal with the fallout of not accepting gift cards, even though they had nothing in their terms and conditions about gift cards not being applicable or redeemable for these things. Like it's sad that it kind of had to take this weird meandering route to get to where we are, but at least there's a resolution now.
Yeah. So thank you, Choice, because if they hadn't got involved, I don't think this would have happened. I think the general media exposure, so like having it up on our side and the other media outlets that covered it, was very important, and that got the message out there. But it was ultimately Choice getting involved and saying,
big time.
Here's some facts, not just what some people think. Because the people raging in Facebook groups and stuff, that's not going to do anything. It needed enough people probably complained, plus Choice kind of telling people what to do. They told people to complain. Really pushed it on, because I suspect in this high-level JB meeting, they probably did just talk about this, saying, what are people going to do who have gift cards? And they probably said, we've got them where we want them, really. If you want this console, we're giving you 5 days. If you don't pay, you're not getting it. And you can't pre-order one anywhere else. They probably thought people would just do what they said. So it's a little bit of a win for the consumers. I don't think JB did this on purpose. I think they didn't have a technical way yet. And they thought people won't complain. They want their console. And good work, people. Enough of you complain to nicely, I hope.
Well, yeah, that's
the person at JB didn't make this decision that you're talking to. So, yeah.
And it's like it's kind of a cop out to just go, oh, COVID, like we're not prepared, we weren't ready for this. But like also COVID, we're not prepared, we're not ready for this. So like you get a little bit of leeway with that, but then it's weird.
We saw the Series X in December last year. Like if you were going to do a payment system online like this, even without COVID, or in March, you probably knew stores were going to be closed. Like you had time to figure this out.
Yeah. And that kind of leads me to a story that I broke this week as well about pre-orders, because God, that's all we seem to be talking about. People were finding it, and not just in Victoria, but obviously it's a lot harder in Victoria to cancel a pre-order of a PS5 or an Xbox through EB Games or a Telstra pre-order on the Xbox All Access program, because people were trying to cancel pre-orders. Same boat that you were kind of talking about before, Ben. Like you just happened to kind of grab 2 or 3 because you were so desperate to get one, and then once you figure out where the release dates sit, then you get rid of the ones you don't want. And I honestly, I think that's absolutely fine for people to do. But especially in Victoria, people were trying to do that with EB and with Telstra. And basically the consensus was, oh, you have to go into a store to do that. Even though you ordered online, you have to go into a store to cancel, which I find very strange to begin with. But I reached out to both EB and Telstra. EB has said, no, definitely phone our customer call center and explain that, you've had.
There's a pandemic in Victoria. I would like to cancel my order, please.
Well, and like, so apparently the policy is that you have to go into a store, and I'm like, well, that's bullshit. It's a pandemic. So even if you're in Adelaide and you don't have to go into a store, why would you? So like, if I could give you $200 on my credit card on a website at 8 a.m. one morning, you can just give it back to me and cancel my pre-order. I don't have to go into your store.
Well, that was my problem. Of course, I could not give them $200 on their website. They refused to accept it. So I don't have to cancel now.
So EB is like phone us. Don't use the web contact form. Don't use the email address. Just phone us and explain the situation, and we'll give you the cancellation. Telstra, the only way to contact Telstra right now, because they're so like in lockdown themselves because of the pandemic, if you phone Telstra, you basically just get this automated thing which pushes you to the My Telstra app, or just gives you some recorded answer that doesn't even like relate to your question and then hangs up on you. So you have to use the My Telstra app chat for support. And people have sent me images, so not emails. I haven't had forwarded emails because it's all just like images from chat. So I didn't run any texts because I'm like, it could be doctored somehow. But I've seen enough to very wholeheartedly believe that Telstra chat is saying, too bad, go into a store. I talked to Telstra about it. They're like, yep, we'll get back to you. They've had a week and a half. They haven't gotten back to me, and I've tried to reach out like 4 times. So I don't know what you do with Telstra. Telstra social media picked up on our story and said, oh, just use the My Telstra app chat. And I'm like, well, that didn't work in the first place. So like, you can try it. Your mileage may vary. We have like the tweet from the Telstra account saying like, you can definitely do this. So that might help you in your quest.
Yeah,
but who
use
knows?
I don't know. I can see why Telstra is different, because you're signing up to a 24-month contract, which has a minimum cancellation fee, basically, which is the console plus 1 month. Yep. And so once you have the console, it'll be easy to cancel the whole thing, but it's just canceling that order. They don't seem to have a process for, and you should be able to before they ship it. But well, even they don't with the phone, have a process for it.
There's that cooling off period if you get a phone, but that's like when the phone is actually in your hands, and you have like, I think it's a day or something to say, oh no, bad, I don't want to do this. But this is different to me. And like, again, I have no idea about how consumer law works. Like you haven't given them money. You don't have a console yet. You should just be able to have them like,
I would think so.
You'd think. So see how you go. If you are successful or not, and you feel like reaching out to us to kind of help me figure out what to do, please, by all means do. And I'll keep hitting up Telstra for more. I don't know.
It is annoying because Telstra is the only place you can get one this year. So they still have Wave 2 stock available, which is meant to ship, if all things go well, on the 9th of December.
9th, yeah.
So you will get it around the 15th, which I assume is when that Wave 2 from JB, because my text said you'll get it just before Christmas. I'm not liking that word "just" in there. If they'd said before Christmas, I would have been great. It's coming in December. Just before makes me think it's coming on the 23rd of December. But never mind. I would order one from Telstra if I knew I could cancel it. But I don't think I'll be able to.
Well, yeah, I put in one because I just feel like I like the idea of having 2 years of Xbox Game Pass as well. And it made it so like less stressful. So like my intent was to pre-order 2 Xboxes. I did once through EB, so I can use all my old consoles and just like trade it in for basically a free console. And then the all access is like what, $46 on my Telstra bill, which is already including my NBN on my phone. So like it'll be like my Telstra bill is gonna be like $200, I think, instead of 150 or 60. But like, whatever. Like. And it's a tax write-off because I do internet things with video games. So everybody wins. Exactly.
No problems there.
Right.
I think that's the end of pre-order news.
Finance talk with Steve and Ben.
If you want to know how to get a console, we don't know, basically. We don't know. If you want to know how to cancel your console, we don't know either.
Let's never, ever pre-order anything ever again.
Well, then you would never get one. There are rumors today that you'll be able to walk into a store and get one. Now, that's based on US comments. I think in America, that's true because that's how they operate. I would be very surprised if you could walk into an EB or a JB and just pick one up on the 10th of November or the 12th of November. especially because people have got text saying like your Xbox is coming at Christmas time. If they then sold some to customers off the shelf, that would just destroy JB. Like
I just
already got
don't
a bad
think
rep.
I don't think we're in a position to be able, especially in like Victoria. I don't even know if shops are going to be open by then. Like,
Oh, there's that factor too. Yeah.
yeah, like
But
there's all this logistical stuff. Like, I just feel like as a retailer, if I had the choice to decide if I was going to pre-order everything or just put it on the shelf and see what happens, like you don't want people in your store right now. And if you can guarantee you're going to sell the things, even on your dodgy, like in need of an update e-commerce website, like you'd go that route and just sell them all and just like have to figure out how you get them to people rather than worrying about like a queue of people just like huddled around the front of your shop when you really don't want people to be doing that.
But even outside of that, I don't think you can pre-sell someone something for 6 weeks away and then just sell one you have now to someone else who just walked in. I don't
Yeah,
think they're going to do that.
agreed.
Maybe a small retailer will. Maybe you walk into like a Big W or something and they've got 1 or 2 left, which they didn't pre-sell. But I don't think so. I think if you've click and collected from a JB or an EB, that's how many consoles they're getting sent to their store. They're not getting any
100%.
extras. So
Yeah.
we don't know how to get one basically. And that's
What
it for next gen chat.
until next week when I get to, so
That's true.
we'll do our well, I don't know what I'm doing, Ben. God, I'm so tired. But in a happy way. This is the exciting bit. Next week's the exciting bit where I get to actually like weigh into all the things that I want to say right now, but I can't. Including why I can't put the Xbox where the light box is, etc.
I'm looking forward to that. That's the most exciting part for me.
It'll be fun, and I get to talk about all the stuff. Like we had a chat with Jason Ronald, who's the Xbox program manager. I think you tweeted something, Ben, today where like he's the coolest looking dude. He's like just bald. He's got like a
got a big
ZZ
wizard
Top
beard.
Yeah, exactly. He's like super nice, and he answered a whole bunch of really cool questions. But again, I can't. It's good for me to know and I can use it for next week, but I can't say anything about it this week. So anyway, let's talk about things we can talk about. You've played 2 games. I've seen you play the one that I played.
Yep.
Them being Crash Bandicoot 4 and FIFA 21. Let's talk about FIFA first because it's probably boringer.
Yeah, let's get that out of the way. This is the most boring FIFA of the whole generation. So that is what I'd put out there.
Put that on the box.
Only because they really phoned this one in. Now, I still like it. So basically every year, I'll give you a quick rundown. They normally add in a new mode or they overhaul a mode and they have a big new on-field feature and then they do a bunch of tweaks. No new mode this year. They added in Volta last year, which is like street football. It's very much like FIFA Street from the mid-2000s. Really fun. It's great for people who don't really play very often because you can just pick it up and play. You kind of get it. You score over there. There's no goalie in 3-on-3. Real FIFA is a bit complicated if you don't play very much. So I had a friend come over who played FIFA like in the early 2000s, not really into it since then, but he could play this. So that's what that is. But it's the same as last year. On field, they have like some buzz term of agile dribbling. Basically, they've just increased the pacing. They've made attackers who are quick more dangerous, more valuable, which is what they had a few years ago. And they've nerfed defenders. Defenders were probably too strong last year. So they don't know what the balance is and they keep changing it, being like, maybe this is what you want. And anyway, this is probably the smallest tweaks we've had in a while. And then they have updated career mode, which is actually the mode I prefer to play. They've stolen a bunch of stuff from Football Manager, but kind of the light version. So it's still fun. It's not that Football Manager really deep. I'm not going to say boring, but detailed level of management is lighter.
Is it called Be a Pro or is it called Career Mode? Because like I'm thinking mode. NHL style, and they have like Be a Pro, Be a GM. It seems like this is kind of like a mixture.
Same. So when you choose, you do a player career or a manager career. So I'm talking manager career is more like Football Manager.
Gotcha.
Cool stuff in there. So the main feature, which is different, is interactive sim. So instead of just simming the whole match, you can start the sim. You can kind of see like basically a radar of what's happening in the game. The whole match takes like a minute, but you can kind of see what's going on. You can make changes to tactics if you want, if things aren't going your way. Or at any point, you can say take control and you start playing from that point. Nice. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, a few other things like the trading and stuff, they've upgraded it. So the mode, which I think a lot of people don't play, but I do, they've finally upgraded. Like it's been the same the whole generation. So that's why I like it. But if you play Ultimate Team, you play just general online, you play online clubs, it's the same as last year, maybe a little bit worse because the pacing is worse than last year. So that's where we've left this generation. But it's only half a game because the next gen version will be slightly different. I think it will be very similar. So in 2014, I don't know if you recall, because it didn't apply to NHL, but it applied to EA's other sports games. There was a last gen version and then an Ignite version on the launch consoles, and it was like a totally different game.
It doesn't apply to NHL this year either.
What's NHL running on? Is that still on what?
It's just going to be Xbox One and PS4. There's no next gen version.
Well,
it doesn't apply.
I think that's basically happening to FIFA 2. Like, I feel like the next gen FIFA is going to be the same game. It's still on Frostbite. It's just going to look a bit better. Like Messi's sweat's going to be slightly more realistic.
But it's a
not a big difference.
Free upgrade. It's not like an NBA free upgrade where you got to pay extra money.
Proper free upgrade, free until FIFA 22 comes out, by which point no one would buy this game anyway. So good free upgrade.
Yeah.
And that's FIFA for this year.
Sounds average. Well, it sounds 7.5. Average is 5. It sounds better than average. It's
still perfectly good game. There's just, if you haven't bought FIFA for 3 years, go for this one. If you buy it every year and you're kind of wondering, do I need to buy this year? No, you do not.
There you go. And it's kind of nice. Like it's one of those things where it's not like you're like NHL where you're just going to buy it and it's just back compat. So you're not like seeing any cool little bump. If you will see switching generations, you get that little extra bonus as well. So that's cool.
That is true. Unlike last gen, if you wanted to play now, you may as well buy it now. And then it's a good test of here's what you're getting. Remember, it's early generation. Here's the difference between last and you can play it on the same machine. You can play, well, not on Xbox. Actually, no, you can because it's a different version of the game. So I suspect there'll be different achievement lists, different trophies because it's not smart delivery. So it should be two separate games.
There you go. So other games, not so much. But cool.
It's basically smart delivery because some saves carry over, but not everything. But then it's not smart delivery because EA want control over it. They want to be able to tell you from this day onwards, we're not doing that anymore.
That's an article for whenever we know the information and that goes up so people aren't as confused about how FIFA saves work or something. I don't know.
Maybe. It's in the review, actually, basically, the gist of it.
Yeah, that's right.
What I think happens, at least, is in the review. I haven't played the next-gen version, so I don't know.
It's been a long week. Something that you won't see any... Well, that's not true. You will see a little bit of a bump in terms of maybe frame rate and stuff is Crash Bandicoot 4. It's about time because it is just going to be an Xbox One and PS4 title. Obviously back compat on your next gen console if you so choose to play it. And if you're not great at Crash games, you might need that extra bit of time because you won't be good enough to finish it before the next gen consoles come out. It's legit
it's tough.
Hard. Yeah. But it's legit hard in the way that you can either play it like it is like a 1990s Naughty Dog game. I was just thinking Naughty Dog and I just couldn't think of Naughty Dog. Where like you can have a set number of lives and if you exhaust them, you're done. I have I have no regrets about playing this in modern style, which means you just have infinite lives and you just keep hitting checkpoints until you decide to beat the game or beat that level. And it will help you out by like adding extra checkpoints. I think one time it only happened once and I don't want to keep being really bad to see if it keeps happening. I think one time I actually got skipped ahead a bit in a level just because I was so atrocious at the bit that I was playing.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I was on a time constraint. I had to finish the review. So it's... Do you like it?
I really like it. I think it's really good. They've captured that, what made the originals work so well. And there's absolutely no doubt when they did the remaster of the first three, they took what they learned from doing that and they applied that to here's what makes a good game. They probably even looked at the sequels that came on like the PS2 and the Xbox afterwards and thought this is why these ones were terrible by comparison.
And it's exactly why they just cut them out. Like in the new Crash canon, they don't exist. This is just the fourth one. It's always existed after I guess there's reasons that's all happened. You're fighting space and time, so that kind of lets them take chunks out of the timeline and rearrange. But
I started like you on modern mode because it pretty much tells you this is what you should do. But I changed back to classic because I felt it didn't feel right to me. I felt like I'm getting all these apples and I'm not getting anything for it because if you get the lives, you're kind of like, yes, my life counter is like 15. I feel like I'm in a good place. Then you lose 5 lives real quick on the same jump that you keep missing and you like hate yourself because you just like it's ticking down. And that's part of Crash for me. Like I feel like without having that threat of losing lives, why am I collecting all this stuff?
Ben, in the second last level, I died 47 times before I finished.
Okay.
Now, 47.
You can change that at any time. So if I get stuck anywhere, I haven't finished it yet. I've only played through the first like 3 world things, maybe. If I get stuck, I'm changing it back because I don't want to get stuck on one level for 47 deaths and lose 47 lives.
It's not like that makes it any easier. It's still extremely difficult. And if you want to get the extra things, like, so there's like 100+ levels. I think, I can't remember. I wrote an article about it. I think there's like 43 or something, I want to say, levels. Like if you just play the standard levels from start to end, you've beat the game. But then there's, every level has an inverted mode, which is a weird way of saying it's like a little bit different. And they put on this crappy visual filter that makes me want to vomit. It's just like neon-y, gross. Ugh, it doesn't, I don't like it. And then there's you can play as Neocortex, you can play as Tawna, and you can play as Dingodile in some levels. So there's a couple extra. And then like every level has a time trial. And then within every single level, you get gems for finding a hidden gem in the level and for collecting 30, 60, 80 Wampa fruit, I think. And then like for dying less than 3 times. So there's like, if you want it to be challenging and you want to collect all the things and get the hidden gems and find the colored gems and get the extra special ending, like you will sink a lot of time into this game unless you're super, super good. And even when you're super, super good, I think it's still going to be pretty challenging nonetheless. So it's nice. It's not overly challenging. It's a little bit frustrating at times, but it would be a lot worse if it was kind of like super traditional retro style Crash.
I think it's challenging if you want it to be. Like you can probably smash through to get to the end of the level. If you're thinking I need to get every crate, there's always a couple which are just out of reach, which you will die a bunch of times trying to get. That's even in the early levels, which I'm still playing. So it can be much harder if you want it to be, which is very Crash. So I think they've got the tone perfect. It looks really good, but it is only 1080p even on the enhanced console. So don't expect 4K on the next gen consoles because it can't be. It'll be 1080 at most. So that's a bit weird, but it looks good anyway.
Yeah, it's the animation style and the way that it's presented. Like it doesn't need to. It's not realistic. It
doesn't
is
need it. Yeah.
Cartoony and looks great. And the cutscenes, it's just like it feels like this was a Naughty Dog game. Like I don't know. Everything just feels so right. It just fits, especially after like, and maybe it's because we've all just played Insane Trilogy and like that's Toys for Bob and God, who took the lead on that? Vicarious Visions? Yes.
Yep, I think so.
Like kind of taking the new kind of style Crash and kind of like revisiting your history, but like it all fits really well. And so this is Toys for Bob. They helped with the Insane Trilogy. They did the Spyro Reignited trilogy, and they did the Spyro. What's the weird thing that he had? Look, the Toys to Life thing.
Skylanders.
Yes, so they did all that, and so like they've taken the lead on this. Beanox, who did some of the old Spider-Man games for Activision, is helping them. So like it's that Activision thing of just like 8 million studios doing bits and bobs. It's really, really good though. I really liked it.
I think we're going to see a pattern here. I think they're going to do the same thing they've done for Crash, basically remastering old games, learning from it, and then making a new one. There's no reason not to now apply this to Spyro if they wanted to, Crash Kart, and certainly Tony Hawk. So,
oh, definitely. They're going to put out a Tony Hawk game before Skate 4 comes out, for sure. And just like laugh at EA, I suppose.
Yeah, well, we're going to get a new Tony Hawk game, and I think we'll get Pro Skater 3 and 4 remastered, bundled at some point too. So which way those come, I'm not sure, but they'll probably just kind of alternate between a Crash, Spyro, Tony Hawk, remaster or new game, whatever. And that is in Activision. They're looking for something new. They just caught every year. They've lost Destiny now. There's something different which they can kind of rely on, and it's worked for them. So,
and I think I can't remember because it's been one of those weeks. I think I saw something about a listing for Xbox Series X, at least for Crash 4 popping up somewhere. I'm not sure. We've seen rumors of Switch. I don't know why this isn't a Switch game. Like it would be for a
you
Switch.
Should go on Switch, but the box copy I have says Xbox One, Xbox Series X on it, which is just what every current Xbox One game says. It doesn't mean it's optimized for Series X. That is what gets a bit confusing. It's not a Series X game, but it can run on it, so they put that on the box.
Something I can definitely talk about the Xbox Series X is that if you're playing an Xbox One right now and you want to play a back compat game, if you go to an Xbox 360 game, it has that like label of 360 on top of it. Nothing on the Series X, even though they're all Xbox One games back compat, like there's no distinction that they're an Xbox One game. So like you wouldn't know that it's an Xbox One game or a Series X game. Because
Okay.
it doesn't, there's like at least no visual indicator right now that that's the case. And that
Well, I
might
suppose
change when we're
that's
getting closer to release or something. But
smart
like,
delivery. You just get the best version of it no matter what. But yeah, that's a bit weird.
yeah, well, and that might change because we're far out from launch. Well, not far out. We're like a month out from launch.
Well,
We're
I don't think it
literally
will.
a month out from launch.
I don't think it will. I think that's part of we're moving. This is the upgrade generation. It's not the big new, the last one's cut off and the new one starts. It's all one big thing. So I think that's probably why.
I'm fine with that. And that's why if you've seen a bit of the UI, not that I can talk about it a lot, you'll notice a lot of resemblance to something that you might already have in your house right now.
I would suggest just turning on an Xbox One X because they got an update, or even Xbox One regular. For non-preview users, it got an update only like last week with a new UI. And I'm thinking
new Xbox Store for sure is
definitely got
everybody
the new
has that.
store.
Yeah.
And well, I got a new UI. Actually, my console might be in preview at some level.
It's the insider ring that has basically the UI that I have on the Series X.
Okay, well, then I have that probably. I don't even remember which preview build I'm in of Xbox anymore.
So everything on Xbox One is very square, and the new UI is the corners of the squares are like a little bit rounded.
And everything's a bit bolder and darker.
Yeah, a little bit bigger as well. So
that's where we're going. And that's probably us for this week. We're done with current gen games, next gen chat. You've got an Xbox Series X. I'll get used to that at some point to go and play and hopefully get some new games by the next time we talk.
Yes, it'll be exciting. Sorry that you're having to live vicariously through me, though. Sorry. How do we find you on the internet?
I am on Twitter, Ben_Salter, probably just complaining about pre-orders being sold out, things of that, some memes. That's pretty much all I'm doing at the moment.
Finding big scoops, Ben.
Occasionally.
Finding big scoops. Well, that's good. I'm Wright AU, and we're on Stevivor.com. So go read it and watch a whole bunch of videos that I'm making. I'm making like one right now, actually.
All right, I look forward to watching that. And that's us done for this week.
Bye.